things kicked off, as I mentioned in the intro, you guys founded some really interesting companies, but it's also the business models that you've created that are really unique. So I'd like to just start off by, Nicole, tell us the story of Flightographer and really just the ecosystem that you've created there.
So Flightographer is like the Airbnb for vacation photographers. We connect travelers with local photographers, 200 cities around the world for fun, candid vacation photo shoots, about an hour long. So imagine you're in Rome, you could meet up with Roberta, one of our photographers there. She'd walk the streets with you for an hour, share awesome tips about the city, like this alley is the best view of the Colosseum, or this is a great coffee shop. And all the while she's taking these candid photos of you. So you come back home, you have this amazing souvenir, but you've also had a really local, authentic experience. At the same time, for the price of a nice dinner out. So that's our business model, and we operate in I think 230 cities around the world across 6 continents. So we have local photographers that live in these different cities, and that's who we have to pay.
So for all of you who take a vacation in the next few months, want to capture those family moments without having to take a selfie with an Apple phone or something. What a concept. Andrew, tell me about Gawkbox and this whole streaming community and content and creators. It's really interesting.
Yeah, so Gawkbox is a suite of tools for people that live stream video games. And for example, if you wanted to earn a little extra money, Gawkbox can help you do that by providing ads for your live stream, whether you live stream on Twitch or YouTube or Mixer. And that's what Gawkbox does.
Okay. And so the gaming community, the streaming is becoming hugely popular. And both of you are founders of really hyper growth businesses. They really hit the ground running. Andrew, let's talk about Gawkbox. It's just like a year into it.
So
tell us like some of the challenges you faced and then like how you scaled so quickly.
So what's nice about our business is streamers themselves are influencers in their own games or an ecosystem. So many streamers watch other streamers. So building a tool that fits a market need allowed us to grow quite quickly. We launched the product in March of last year, and we've announced that we've had over 12,000 streamers sign up and using the tool in the last year. So what's great about that is we have a lot of people using these tools across multiple large platforms, but it did create a need to pay 12,000 people. So that's kind of where we knew we wanted to use Paul. So.
Okay, so a challenge right away was payments to thousands. Nicole, just talk about being a founder. The challenges, the hurdles you have to overcome in those first few years as you iterate and as you try and make a business out of your dream of Flightographer.
So pretty much everything. Like everything's a challenge. So my background is I spent 12 years actually living in Seattle working for Microsoft, and so this is my first startup. And when you get into it, it's almost nice when you're naive and you don't know what you're getting into, because there's a lot that you're getting into. Everything from figuring out how to build a website to recruiting technical staff when you're not technical, to figuring out how to pay photographers. Well, first of all, find them, vet them, and then pay them all over the world. So I feel like I've had like 17 MBAs in the last 5 years just from working and building my own company. But yeah, there's so many challenges. Operationally, just trying to figure out how things work. So it's a lot of testing and trying different things and seeing what works. And then for the things that do, then starting to like build it out tech-wise or build out strong process so you can scale faster.
Yeah, a lot of learning that goes on.
A lot of learning.
So as a founder, what's your expectation for finance and operations? We've talked about it's been kind of this back office, group that we're trying to raise the stakes and make it more strategic. What's your expectation, Andrew? And you guys are so lean. I'm not even sure that you even qualify to have a back office staff, but tell me about what your expectation is for finance, accounting, operations for Gawkbox.
Yeah, sure. So our company is 15 people, and 11 are in product and engineering, and 4 on the community side, so actively working with the streamers. Our expectations are, it's 2 parts really. On the finance side, that everything should just work. And then on the operations side, operations is easily the powerhouse of our internal culture. But with that said, finance just needs to happen. It needs to work. Some of the things that were on the slides just a moment ago, We have streamers from around the world, so collecting tax documents and making sure they're organized was something that we knew we didn't want to have to deal with. And just payments. It's really important that every streamer that is actively working on building a stream gets paid on time in the right amount, so just consistency. So my expectations for finance, for sure, is that it happens and that everybody does what they say they're going to do. And then on the operational side, it allows us to work on higher value things that actually matter to the business, or frees us up to work on higher value things that can add a lot of value to the bottom of the business.
Excellent. Nicole, how about you? As the CEO, what do you expect out of your operations and finance?
Well, I mean, definitely reiterate a lot of what Andrew said. I think the big thing for us is we were spending hours a week on really rote manual things. So we used PayPal initially, which was fine when we had 10 photographers and started, and then you start to expand. And so every week we were inputting, pay Johnny in New York, $130 for his photo shoot on June 10th. So there's a lot of opportunity for human error. It's low value work. So for me, that's not where I want my book road controller to be spending a lot of their time. I want them to be looking at, data and analysis and cost savings and growth, and really like our analytics dashboard and helping drive a lot of value on that side of the house and the more road tasks, especially when they're complicated and across, cities and countries. We don't have that in-house expertise, so having tools that can help us to seamlessly, make those things happen is great.
So it sounds like stuff just needs to get done, happen, and no mistakes. It's got to be on time. And in fact, that leads me to, there must have been some pain around trying to make that happen. Andrew, you guys founded Gawkbox almost on the premise of global payments will be easy because you had some familiarity. Let's talk about maybe how you've used Tipalti in the past and where you realized, gosh, I need a solution like this because we've hit a wall in a sense.
Yeah, of course. So my friends and I were some of the folks that started a business that's actually on that placard, a company called Bungle. They do in-app video ads. So if you've seen a video ad while you're using an app, there's a good chance Bungle had something to do with that. And that business, we left in, the original Gawkbox founders left in 2016. The company's been an absolute dream and been an amazing run. It's way bigger than we ever expected, but we had to have something like 100,000 apps running video ads at the time we departed. So we had people can make apps anywhere in the world and use our products there. So we had this problem in 2012, 2013, and that's when we really got to know Tipalti and grow Tipalti. So when we started Gawkbox, attempting to fix a similar problem in a different category, and instead of building ads for apps, ads for live streamers, we knew when we launched actually with Tipalti this time around, but last time it was an absolute fiasco trying to collect all this information manually. Can you PDF us your tax documents for whatever? Yeah, we knew it wasn't going to be an issue because we planned to use Tipalti from the start.
Okay. Nicole, how about you? When did you realize, okay, we need to optimize this payments operation that we have going on?
So my accountant was telling me constantly, we need to do this. And in hindsight, if I started another startup like you, I would jump into it right away. But it just, the PayPal got a little untenable, and then we ran into an issue with PayPal, which I won't talk about online, but it shut our business down for a little, like it stopped. We had no ability to pay for a while because of this issue. And so I think making sure you have multiple paths and like you're able to think through different scenarios that could possibly impede your payments. Photographers are the lifeblood of our business. So if we can't pay them and we can't get the money to them in an easy way and in a quick way when they're expecting it, it could crush our whole business model. So we need to like really kind of know that. So for us, when we had that hiccup or that issue, we started researching really quickly on different vendors and providers. And when we started to roll out Tipalti, it was a game changer for business. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd even add on the back of that, and I'll share our PayPal story. I'm happy to. In our business, one of the tools that we provide is direct donation, so people can directly donate to a live streamer, which is just the industry standard. Nobody charges for it, but it's quite common, this theme of chargebacks, where somebody will take a credit card, charge $10,000 and donate it to a streamer just to see the streamer's reaction on stream, and then they'll call their credit card company and cancel it and charge it back. So we processed inside of 15 minutes something like $100,000 at chargebacks. And PayPal shut us down, but because we processed so many payments through PayPal, and PayPal's been great, we were able to work with PayPal to make sure that our payment system for our traders didn't get shut down. But that is one of the biggest challenges that we've experienced with PayPal, and PayPal is processing so much money that they can't empathize with every scenario, but for sure I can relate on the importance of paying independent artists and creators for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge if you just have one method.
Yeah.
So I'd like to explain to everyone here too, just how the digital workflow works with your companies. They're very digital, and kind of explain the platform from like user, customer to paying a creative or a creator or photographer through the service that's being provided, just the soup to nuts of the system that you've created there. Nicole, we'll start with you. How does Photographer work as a digital business?
So the flow is someone will be going on a trip, and let's say they're going to Paris. They'll go to our website, look at the photographers listed, kind of like Airbnb, take them a request one that they like based on their portfolio, and then they pay. And when they pay, we collect that money. We collect it 38 days in advance on average. So the average customer is booking 38 days before the shoot. We collect that in full. And then we pay the photographers out 5 days after the photos have been delivered. So what happens on our back end is our controller will go in, get a report on all the payments that are due. We pay every Tuesday all around the world. And so she'll literally pull a CSV and upload it, and it's 5 minutes.
All right, and then the customer gets their photos from your website as well, and they sort of say, "Oh, this was great," and
yeah, the customers get the photos within 5 days of the shoot. So after they book and they make all the arrangements, they'll meet that local photographer, spend the hour with them, and within 5 days they get a digital online gallery that they can then share with their friends, print them through us, print them at Costco. It's really up to the customer. But this is all happening through our booking platform, and the photographer will get their payment based on what they've told us, how they want to receive the money.
okay. And Andrew, explain the Gawkbox platform for folks out there. It's streamers and how they get signed up. It's a community in a way, but it's just an interesting digital business. Explain how it all works.
Are you talking about how streamers find out about our product?
Yes, and then how do they get set up in it, and then ultimately get paid?
All the way through payment. Yeah, sure. So when you sign up for Gawkbox, we basically provide a few links that you can put into your stream, and then you determine where you want your stream to go. I want to stream to YouTube, or I want to stream to Twitch, or whatnot. We provide the assets that go into that stream, and then they determine which platform they're going to stream on. Once you've signed up, as just part of your settings, you can attach your payment information, and that's where we have our Tipalti prompt right there. Yeah, in our space, I'm sure the price points in photography is much higher. Ours is much lower. Thousands of people making probably on average a little less than maybe a professional photographer. And so it was just really important to us to give a lot of optionality to let folks in that sign up process determine kind of what price points they want to get paid at, and what frequency, and how they wanted to get paid. The more professional streamers definitely are more than happy to take no fees or anything like that. But for the much smaller folks, the folks that are doing this on nights and weekends, and they have much lower payment amounts, like anywhere from $10 to $50 or $100 on a monthly basis, being able to take that payment in the method that's best for them was really important that we provided that to them. So it was kind of a no-brainer to, again, continue to pick Tipalti for that reason, is the optionality of payment type.
Yeah, I would just add to that too, like for a lot of our Italian photographers, they prefer, for whatever reason, to take wire payments. A lot of our American photographers want just direct to bank the ACH. Yeah. All right. Anyways, so it's nice for them to be able to go in and adjust it in their settings. And we don't even know how, like it's all, private, and then the payments just go out instantly.
Okay. It sounds great once it's happening, but you've got these photographers or creators, they're the lifeblood of your companies, and you need to pay them efficiently. Talk about, Nicole, when you had to kind of do that change. You had to say, hey, photography community, we want you to go on this new platform. Trust me, you'll like it because it has more ways that you can choose to be paid. How was it to just get all your photographers onto this new platform?
Well, I think there was a lot of messaging that had to go out in front so they understood the value to them and why why we were going in this direction. In our case, we had to stop payments for I think 3 weeks, but we had built up so much trust over the years with our community. We're like, hey, we've got this situation, we're working on it, here's our likely solution. So they kind of were on the journey with us to some degree, but then as we started to roll it out, there was a lot of questions being fielded by our team around like, what does this mean? And so we kind of had it all at once, right? Because we migrated. But with every new photographer that's come on board since then, it's just so easy. I don't even hear anything about it from my team. Like it's part of the onboarding process. They fill out their payment information. You can see it in their dashboard. Like I have 7 shoots coming up. I have 3 that are, completed, and I have payments for those ones. And this is the payment. This is the shoot. So it's all on the back end for them. The migration was just, again, getting in front of them with messaging to say, hey, now you can do A, B, or C. Pick your door, right? And so. I think a lot of them liked that, and then some people are always like, change, I don't like it, but most people were happy.
Okay, great. Andrew, you guys launched on the premise of global payments made easy, so Tipalti was part of the onboarding from the start. How's that gone? And then even from your days at Vungle, you could talk about, did you go through a change management process with the folks that you were paying and how that went?
Maybe the way to address this issue is, or this question is with understanding the cash flow in our business. We can't bill advertisers, or we don't get paid from advertisers until 30 days from the end of the month. So whenever we close the month, we bill the advertisers send us money 30 days from that date. And just about always, everybody always pays on time, not too much of an issue, but 30 days from the end of the month is also when we need to pay creators. And so that was something that we knew going in was going to be important, that we explored factoring as our business grew, and being able to provide that factoring to these small independent creators so that they could determine if they wanted an early payment at a small fee for themselves to take on. We want folks to be able to get their cash as quick as possible, but naturally planning that into our launch process was something we had to consider based on scale and available capital and whatnot. So I think, that was one of the biggest deciding factors is when we were picking vendors and going through vendors, and the ability to have a factored amount of capital if needed.
Okay, so for folks out there, factored amount of capital, what we're talking about is early payments. So you're saying your advertisers were paying you at the end of the month, and it was 30 days within that. And so a creator, that's a fairly big lag time, maybe, is what you're saying. So the opportunity to say, hey, folks, if you want an early payment, we can pay you right away, even though technically we don't need to make our payment for another 30 days.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're actually saying, I'll take the money early for a small discount, in a sense, of the total payment. So what's your feedback so far on what you're seeing from your community around getting payments?
Yeah, actually, to steal a line from Nicole, I think when we looked at this on launch, we haven't had to come back and reassess it, because all things we could focus on building core product for the market fit. We're in a hyper-competitive market, working with very large players in that market. So just being able to continue to focus on areas that are not at the back of the house, and being able to focus on the front of the house and our place in the market with a very lean team.
Mm-hmm. And so we also pay travel agents and partners, distribution channels. So for us, having one place where everybody can be paid is great. We used to literally write out checks and mail them to travel agents all over the world, and we have affiliate partners as well. So just again, having all that data in one place allows us to focus our attention on higher value things. And when you're dealing with millions of dollars going out every year, there's so much margin for error. So just knowing that this is coming straight from a database table, and if it's clean data going in, payment data going out, it's just no brainer.
Okay, great. That's a nice transition into kind of the return on investment or the justification for making a change, buying technology. Andrew, you guys again launched with this in mind. What has been the ultimate benefit or the value back to Clockbox of moving to a system like Tipalti as part of your infrastructure?
Yeah, past setup, we don't have anyone on team that actively works on payments. It's not a recurring issue. It's something that happens, and we fund our Tipalti account when payments are due, and that's about it. So we don't have a headcount on staff that is a finance person. We have a part-time bookkeeper that makes sure everything's organized to close the month. That's about it. So it's really no headcount added.
Great. Nicole, what's been the impact for you?
Yeah, for us, it's just, freeing up time to focus on higher value things in the back office. So, now my controller is not mired in like all these minutia of micro payments to photographers and partners. She's able to really focus on our analytics dashboard and the numbers and cash flow projections and financial forecasting and just, how things that, are better use of her time. So
Impactful to your business.
way more impactful to our business.
All right. So Andrew, if I heard you correctly, if you didn't have Tipalti, what would your organization look like? You'd be hiring staff, you'd be having to, kind of get these payments out
We run
there.
our business incredibly lean, so maybe the inverse of that is we would have had to hire folks and have less engineers. So we would probably have the same headcount, just that budget would have been allocated to finance folks instead of some of our engineering team.
Okay. Engineers are pretty important to your rollout of this.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely trying to focus on new things that other people haven't fixed in the market or built in the market, and trying to continue to grow and just try to innovate, and spending time and resources on problems that partners like Tipalti can fix for us. It's definitely, time is money, very much so in that factor.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about what's next, but in a two-pronged kind of way. If you were able to talk to yourself a year ago and give yourself advice, or maybe two, however long it's been that you've been on this journey with transforming Payables, would there be any advice you'd give yourself? And then what's next in your business? It doesn't have to be related to finance or operations, but just want to know what's next. But for lessons learned or advice for the folks that are out there maybe looking at going through a process like this.
I think for us, just thinking ahead a lot more around payments. So payments is not something that I'm personally passionate about, or I'm focused on the business. I just wanted to work. And when it was getting tough, we had to sort of scramble to look for a solution really last minute. So I'd say, the advice I would give would be plan ahead for that growth and just model it out more and think about, what's the scalability of this particular solution? And I think that would have saved us a lot of pain when we went through that process. And then moving forward for us, we have some interesting challenges with just our business model operating in so many cities, and everything from tax compliance, and so there's a lot of areas that my controller can focus her time on that again will be specific to payables. And we're in aggressive growth mode. We're the fastest growing consumer services startup in Canada, and we're doubling our business every year. And so for us, it's really looking at where are those different growth opportunities, customer acquisition opportunities, and what features do we need to be building in our platform to help support the growth that we're anticipating, and really focusing on the innovation side and just having other stuff to support.
All right, exciting.
Yeah, that's amazing. On our side, when we launched the business, the vision was always to bring live streams to life, and the mission at hand is not enough. There's very few live streamers that make enough money to do this as a full-time business. So changing the mission at hand is to change the monetization profile of the independent streamer. So I would say to myself a year ago that that's the right stuff, and this year it's still very much the mission at hand.